Coldplay, The Scientist. Have you seen the video of that?
Great, it's just brilliant.
I think I might have worked out. What is, he's walking backwards, it's all filmed backwards, but he's singing forward. Now, the only way I can work out they've done it, without CGI in it and cheating with the lips, is that he had to learn it backwards and did it sort of like bit by bit. Did he do that?
He was on Zoe's show like about a week ago or something, and
so
he sang it backwards.
So he learned phrases and they filmed that.
Yeah.
But he didn't learn the whole song, did he? He couldn't possibly have learned the whole song. He must have like stopped it and...
Don't know.
It's a great video though. They always do a good video.
No, it's very good indeed.
So it was, yeah, The Scientist on XFM. Wonderful. I'm Rick Gervais, with me Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington.
I had a bit of good news this morning.
Go on.
I was on the tube coming down, and, I don't want to sound arrogant, I don't want to sound pushy, but, I was at Green Park, and I'm fairly certain, Rick, it's not 100% corroborated, I'm fairly certain that a woman pinched my arse. So what do you think of that? Yes.
There's a lot of pickpockets around Green Park.
No, my wallet was still there.
Really?
But even if it wasn't, you know, that would have been money well spent. But the wallet was still there, so what do you think of them apples? Eh?
So what did she just pinch your arse?
I can't confirm it at this stage, exactly what happened, but it certainly felt like a pinch. I looked round, there was a woman behind me.
Right.
She was fairly old. I think she's probably in her mid-30s.
Right.
Kind of reddish hair.
Right.
I don't know if she's listening.
Right.
But, she knows where I am. And, so I don't know how to proceed, really, Rick. I don't know if it's worth putting up some posters around the Green Park area.
Well, what you could
just to try and corroborate it. If you saw a woman pinch the lanky guy's arse,
you could probably get in, contact with British Rail and go back over their
CCTV cameras, yeah.
And then they could probably zoom in and, you know, sort of identifying sort of birthmarks, or she might have been holding something.
But I could hire a private eye. Yeah. Again, money well spent.
Well, so there you go.
You know, I'm just saying maybe maybe things are looking up.
Things
it's getting towards Christmas.
The worm has turned.
I mean, you know, it's a little, sexy story to get the show going.
it is
but so what do you make of that then, Carl?
What do you think of that,
you're quite damning. What's your answer?
Well, I mean, you're quite a tall fella.
Sure. So,
she must have really wanted to sort of reach up and have a pinch.
Well, you think she wasn't a dwarf? She did it with her teeth.
He didn't say she was a dwarf.
No, but Steve's taller than, you know, his arse.
Yeah, but his arse isn't 6'9", is it? His arse is about 3 foot off the floor.
4 foot?
What?
4 foot off the floor?
No, I don't think so. About 3. She'd have to be a midget to have to reach up to pinch Steve's arse. He is very tall, but...
Yeah.
I don't know what your point is there, Carl. You're just trying to, you're just, I think maybe just a little bit jealous. Just a little bit of jealousy.
Well, do you know what happened to me on the way in?
Go on.
A homeless person called me a dickhead.
How did he know? Do you know him? Is that what?
He's like the local big issue fella.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows me, he sees me walking up and down the street.
Oh, that's how he knew you.
Right. So, so normally I have a bit of a chat with him and that. And I walk past him. And, you know, I can be a little bit cheeky with him, because I've been cheeky with him in the past, with stuff.
You pinched his arse?
No, just, you know, saying stuff like, God, you're always there, I mean, you got home to go to, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, just breaking the ice, go on.
He knows, and he'd laughed at that, right, last time, so I thought I can be a bit cheeky, right? So he goes, do you want a big issue? I said, no. He said, come on, I've got loads of them, right? So I sort of said, oh, when I was a kid, and I used to do a free paper around the free papers one, I said, just put them in the bin and go home, right? And he went, yeah, but how am I gonna get any money doing that, you dickhead?
You see, I can see his point. He is homeless and having to sell newspapers to get 50p or a quid or whatever.
Yeah, and sometimes I treat him, right? And today I didn't have any money. I had a takeaway last night, and I normally give them a quid, and I felt bad not being able to do that because I didn't have any money on me last night.
Right.
I couldn't look him in the eye.
Did you explain this to the homeless person, the traumas of the takeaway without the tip? Did you explain that, you know, you've had it hard as well? I go, look, you don't.
I had food delivered to my warm flat.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, you don't know what that's like. You don't know what the trauma is because you can't have food delivered to your flat because you haven't got one. So please don't look at me like that. You should have said.
But most people ignore him. At least I gave him a bit of acknowledgement and sort of.
took the mick.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was. I just was being friendly.
No, I know.
You gotta be careful with the homeless, because this is true, and this is, you know when the clocks went back recently, so you got an extra hour in bed?
Yeah.
And, I was at Cash Point with a friend of mine, and there was a homeless person sat by the Cash Point, and, you know, we would get some money out, and she said spare some change, and my friend's, he's a bit awkward, he's just trying to make conversation with her, he went, oh, clocks go back? Extra hour in bed?
Oh no.
I gave her £2. I felt so bad. He didn't do it intentionally. He didn't realise what he'd said. Just making conversation.
Bumbling.
It's tricky making conversation with the homeless, because there's so many areas you've got to avoid. You know, what was on the telly.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I get recognised by homeless people and I don't know where.
Well, you got to remember that's very much your demographic, Rick.
Yeah.
You know, people who watch TV through the window of Dixon's.
Yeah, in Dixon's. Yeah, there was Ricky Gervais is on.
Yeah.
Pop the telly on.
They can smell the alcohol on you. They think you're one of them.
Oh, I've had to cut down on that. I've been really good with this training thing.
The boxing.
Play a record and I'll tell you about that. I had my first week of training. I'm in trouble. I'm struggling.
What do you want to play?
Oh, we've got a bit of, have we? Stone Roses, classic.
Feeder, Come Back Around. XFM 104.9. Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington. Alright? Yeah, so I had my first week of training for this, charity boxing. For those people who don't know, I'm fighting Grant Bovey, Anthony Turner's husband. It sounds arbitrary, but it's actually because he's, at 41 and about my weight, a bit taller, I think. But, and we've never done it before, but, no, it'd be fun. Battling someone for charity.
Yes.
No, but, it's, and I can't believe my luck, because I've been a fight fan for like 30 years, and they took me shopping, they bought me all the gear, and, the training's great. It's really hard. I mean, it's, I imagined it'd be really hard, and it's probably slightly harder than I imagined. And the only bit I like, so I don't like all the exercise and all the stuff you've got to do. I like the bits that look a bit like something I've seen in a Rocky film.
Right, sure.
You know, we did that thing with the string along the ring and I have to pop up and punch, and that.
Right.
That was great.
Right, nice.
Skipping's not bad. I'm trying to get good at that. I like that ball that you go.
Are you any good at that? Is that?
I'm getting good at it.
And what's that teaching you, that particular thing? It's just the rhythm, is it?
It's rhythm, and of course your arms are up for that long, so you've got to keep your guard up all the time.
Yeah.
So that teaches you to keep your arms up.
And you were, up at 6 this morning, you broke some raw eggs into a cup and then you ran up the steps of the town hall, didn't you? I know.
With loads of people following me, and I shouted, Bovey! at the top. No, I'm not going mad. Just, you know, once every other day. But I'm struggling now. I woke up today and it's like I'd been hit by a car.
Yeah.
Just everything aches, so the muscles you haven't used. But, anyway, I had a meeting, the first time with the people, the program makers, because they're following me for a month and everything, and Grant as well. And they said, you need a sort of nickname, just for a laugh. And I went, what's Grant using? They said, I think he's gonna use Gorgeous Grant Bovey, or Grant. I went, I don't know, so I better go against that. What about, Ricky Hippo Gervais?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, anyway, I had a freaking with Frank Maloney meeting the next day, and, it's sort of, you know, you've got to do this nickname, and the bloke said, I checked out that name, you can't call yourself Hippo. I went, well, of course I can't, I was joking. He went, well, I said, well, it's racist, I was joking, I was making a joke about me, and he went, I don't know. And then, I went down to get the, buy all the gear from this shop.
They'd have the dressing gown made?
Yeah. And I was picking all the stuff, I was going, oh look, that's like Naz wore. Oh look, that's like Ali wore and I'm going, I'll have that, picking all the gear and everything. And, there was a couple of boxers down there, sort of like looking at me thinking, who's that fat bloke taking up boxing at 40? And, I said, I wasn't. And, the bloke went, oh yeah, how you doing? I went, oh yes, how long have you been in the game? He said, I've been boxing 20 years. So how many fights you had? He said, about 40. I said, oh yeah, help me, I've got to think of a nickname. And I thought, Ricky Balboa Gervais. He went, right. I went, or Ricky Marciano Gervais. He looked at me and went, what about Ricky Martin? Oh dear.
Absolutely justified.
Yeah, I'm not respected yet in the boxing world.
No, sure.
But, I mean...
It's only a matter of time. Once they see you fight, Rick, everything's gonna change. So, have you actually punched anyone yet? Have you actually...
No, I haven't punched person. I punched pads, and I punched the bag, and I've sort of sparred and that.
I know you're gonna get a chance to punch someone.
Well, as I suspected, my punching power's alright, but my fitness is... I mean, it felt like I was smoking.
Yeah.
You know, but there's you know, bits of lung that haven't had oxygen in them for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And also because it's not only it's being filmed, but there's other fighters there that are ridiculous. They're like machines, right? And it's that thing I can go, right, I can come out on top, but die now of a heart attack, but never give up. Or I can sit down and go, I'm sorry, I feel ill. And I chose that one, and of course they took the mick.
Well, of course.
But I mean, you know, soon, you know, as I said, I haven't got the respect yet of the boxing fraternity, but
how long have you got then before?
4 weeks.
Okay, so, and do they think that they can turn you around health-wise in that time?
No,
they're going to be coming out on a Zimmer frame.
No, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna teach me the basics and see how it goes, you know,
Right.
but I mean, you know,
and each round is 4 seconds, is that right?
Yeah, 2 4-second rounds.
with a 2-hour break in between each one. A sit-down meal.
So, give the number. I want serious suggestions of my fighting name. Nothing insulting. Something we can actually use.
Well, let's give out the email. That's always the easiest. Ricky.Gervais@xfm.co.uk. What's the number, Carl?
08700 800 1234.
And it doesn't have to be in the middle. It could be at the beginning, like the Rage.
Okay.
Ricky the Rage.
Ricky the Tits. Yeah, sure.
Ricky the Man. Play a record. Big
it was a good day, yeah. Ice Cube talks to me about my life in the hood.
Yeah.
A couple of emails are already coming in. Rush. They're flooding in, Rick, inevitably, as boxing name suggestions for you. This is one from Matt, I think. He's given a couple, actually. Ricky the Pudding Gervais. Ricky Big Mac Gervais. There's a theme here. Ricky Pasty Gervais. The pasty. I quite like the pasty. Here comes the pasty.
As Carl said, he says the thing is, if you have a really good nickname, it's embarrassing when you lose, whereas if you just call yourself, it's not so embarrassing when you lose. Carl, this is doing no good for my ego.
Do you know what I mean? If you have, like, Killer Gervais.
Yeah, and then you end up, like, vomiting, choking on your own vomit upside down, hanging out the ring.
What happens if you win? Do you have to do something
Whereas
proper?
there goes the pasty being stretchered off in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not such a problem.
There he is, being lightly basted. And chucked down a mine. What do you mean, what do I have to do?
Say if you beat Grant, say if that happened.
Yeah, right.
What happens next?
What do you mean, what happens next? What? Do you think, this is a contention fight for the big one?
But do they,
well, then we make Ricky 2.
No, but, you know, do you know if they're planning on making more money? Because it's for comic relief, isn't it? So what happens on the night?
No, it's for a charity of our
Comic
choice.
relief would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, whatever, right.
Yeah, it was last time. I think it was last time.
Is it sport relief? It's not sport
It was
relief.
last time,
right.
but I think this is a programme where
And how do you make money for charity from this? Do we pay to sort of, for how many punches to the head you're gonna take? Or
No, I just
how long you're gonna last?
I assume the BBC donate money, or someone, or a sponsor or whatever, so I don't know, just donate, because it's actually a programme. This is more about a programme with a charity angle. So, yeah.
So as if you get, like, killed, there's more money and food to go around. Maybe. But no, I mean, the thing is, what's the next step? Because if they go like, right, yeah, well done, you've won, thank you very much.
Well, Carl, what do you expect? That its winner stays on?
Yeah.
Like in a fair, where I go there and I let people punch me in
on Bernard Manning.
Yeah. And then my twin gets up.
Yeah.
It's just it's a programme.
He's not gonna turn pro.
It's like faking it.
Yeah, but what's the point if it's not gonna go anywhere?
Well, look.
Sorry, him fighting Grant Bovey in a ring is not entertainment enough.
Yeah, what's the matter with you, Carl?
That's gonna get his face pummeled in. That's gonna be hilarious.
Right, when I did boxing at the youth club.
Once, when he did boxing, he fought a little weak kid, because it was his first day, battered him. Next week, it was someone else's turn, and he got battered and he left.
Yeah, I said, right, I've had enough. But there was
yeah.
There was a ladder there that I had to work. Right, and I decided after the first step, I thought, it's not for me, this.
Yeah.
But if you win, it's all kind of like, right, well...
Yeah, the world's your oyster.
But it's a programme. It's just a one-off programme, isn't it? It is like you gotta treat it like faking it.
Yeah, but faking it, right, that little gay fella who ended up being a doorman, he's actually doing that as a proper job now or something, he loved it so much.
Do you seriously think I have any intentions of getting into the fight game and leaving entertainment behind?
Well, what's the point then?
What do you mean? What's the point in watching television? It's entertainment.
Or educational. I watch it to sort of soak in information.
Well, this is educational. I'm learning a lot. I'm actually learning a lot, and I can't believe my luck. I've got professionals telling me, you know, hopefully how to lose weight and punch hard. That's just fun. It's like having golf lessons.
Right, but say, I mean, here's an example.
Go on.
It's a nice way to plug it. We've got Rockbusters coming up in about 10 minutes or something, right? Now,
look forward to that.
people email in, and they don't just do it for fun. They do it because they know they've got some good prizes lined up.
Right.
So they're doing it because it gets them something.
Yeah, my prize is that I've learned something in life. I've gone through an experience, and hopefully I'll come out in some way better if I don't get mashed. That's it. That's the prize. That's why we do anything, isn't it?
I think this is example of you, Carl, is that you give up too easy.
Yeah,
you took up the box and you gave that up straight away.
You think there's no point in anything?
I did Crusaders for I think I lasted that out for about 4 weeks.
What's Crusaders?
Well, it was me mate, right? He was religious.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not really. But
no, I mean you believe in ghosts though and shadows pushing people off bikes. But go on.
But it's the same time. I think I told you once before that I went to the church with this lad because I swore, and he said he was going to tell me dad.
Yeah.
I was effing and jeffing. So he said, if you're gonna
is that how they get people to church nowadays?
I love that one kid that, yeah, he hasn't got the idea of the protection game. There's nothing in it for him. Either you turn to religion or I tell your father.
Right, so I went to church with him and that, and then the next week he said, I know that was rubbish and you didn't enjoy it. It's when I got kicked out for messing with a tennis ball in the pews, right?
I don't think we've heard that, but I don't think we could possibly go into that now.
Summed it up.
Yeah.
So,
well, no,
come on, we'll come back to that. You had a tennis ball and some pubes.
No, in the pews.
In the pews, right. Yeah. But anyway, so I went there and I said, I don't think much of this church thing, it's a bit boring.
Sorry, and so you went to church and you ended up in the Crusades?
No, it's called the Crusaders. What it is, it's meant to be the fun part of religion for kids. Right. And my mate said, oh, you want to come along? It's, you know, you go on a Friday night and do it on a Sunday as well. Right, so I went on the Friday night, it was brilliant. They had Sabutio, played table tennis in this dead big old house.
And what do they do at the end? Say, I hope you enjoy yourself. Remember God gave you all this.
Well, it's sort of, you know, enjoy the simple things in life. You don't need computer games, you can play table tennis and that, and talk with your friends.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah. I thought, yeah, that's alright.
I think you'd be happy in a young offenders institution. You get to clean the toilets there.
But don't forget, Carl, I think God invented Nintendo too.
Right. Well, anyway, so that was alright. I loved it on the Friday.
Yeah.
And my mate said if you go for 4 weeks in a row without missing a day.
Yeah.
You get a free badge. And,
salvation.
I don't like all this sort of being stuck in stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's what I didn't
don't get tied down.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, every day. Yeah. Right, so, anyway, so you've got to come again on Sunday, so I thought, well, we'll have another game of table tennis, it'll be alright.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go on the Sunday.
Who was this servant of God?
Right. I go on the Sunday, it's like a totally different club, there's no table tennis.
That's how they trick you.
No Sabutio.
Yeah.
They start handing out Bibles.
Oh. And it's like a timeshare thing.
Hang on a minute, right?
They trick you.
So I didn't go again on Sundays, I used to just go on the Friday.
Just go on the Friday, brilliant. Brilliant. I'm amazed no one else saw through that.
Well, the thing is, there used to be loads there on the Friday, so they won't even notice if I'm not, like, do you know what I mean? That I'm not showing up on a Sunday. So anyway, carried on, it was
just this kid in the vicar.
Oh, I love that. You got one over on the church.
So I was loving it, right? Playing table tennis and that. And then, on a Sunday, they found out where I live, and the head fella started coming round, knocking on the door.
God!
He's everywhere, Rick.
Why did he knock?
The fella...
Politeness.
The fella who, like, ran the club, he started coming around knocking on the door. And I saw him coming up the path and I said to my mum, oh, it's the fella from the Crusaders. Yeah. She didn't even know what I was...
No.
She
thought you were off nicking hubcaps and stealing cars.
She didn't have a clue what I was talking about.
You've been going to church!
You've been to church, I don't believe it!
Little bleeder.
That's not how we brought you up!
So, I said, look, just tell him I'm not in, tell him I'm not in. And then she had to keep doing this, and they were coming round every Sunday to try and make me, like... Go on a Sunday. It was really important that I went and that I was abusing the system and all this. Anyway, I didn't go, and then...
Why didn't they just tell you on next time we turned up on a Friday?
Yeah. No, well, because there was so many people there on a Friday, you just get mixed in the crowd.
Yeah.
It was jammed. It was well popular on a Friday.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, on one of the Sundays, it was quiet for a bit, and they stopped coming round. So I thought, right, I can go out again, right, on a Sunday, because I used to avoid hanging around the house in case...
What sort of reign of terror is this?
Incredible.
Right. So I thought,
It's like the Spanish Inquisition.
So I thought, great, they forgot about me.
Yeah.
Everything, I can carry on in sort of normal life now.
Yeah.
And I was playing out in the avenue. Fella comes round.
Oh.
And he goes, there you are. You know, you're always busy on a Sunday. You enjoy Fridays and that, don't you? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, come on, you've got to come with me. And I couldn't get out of it.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, what could I say?
Charlie says.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, he nearly killed me in a car crash. So that was the excuse I used next time. He had a Mini, right? And he was driving us there, and he hit the curb, nearly sort of turned over the Mini. Right? There was like 3 of us in the back. So, I said...
Is that a record?
So... Next time,
or was it a joke?
Next time he came round to pick us up, I said, look, really enjoyed it and that. I said, but ever since that journey, I really, you know, I don't want to get in the car with you again, because it scared me a bit. And I said, alright then, I didn't have to go again.
That's alright, isn't it?
That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
He almost killed you in a car
It's
crash.
a parable. Thank God no one was hurt.
Yeah.
I remember that...
Your life moves in incredible ways.
Yeah.
Rather like God.
Yeah. So, they're probably round there now, aren't they? Going, is he coming tomorrow? What we got?
Well, are we talking about the prizes next?
Well, let's talk about the prizes. We've got the big game, Rockbusters, coming your way soon, Rick. I know you're excited about that. And is there more educating Ricky this week? Have you got that planned?
There is. We are struggling on that feature a bit now, because I feel like we've covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know about hairy Chinese kids and deaf people that hit their head and can hear again. So I don't think there's lots more to learn in life. The amazing Karl Pilkington. Right, prizes.
Yes.
List them.
Rockbusters.
Yeah.
It's, one of the big exciting quiz shows, and this may be one of your last chances to play. There's rumours that it's gonna get ditched, Rick. Rumours that Karl Pilkington, the creator and mastermind behind it, has already grown tired of it. It's all from the way. You heard them earlier on, the very best of the Stone Roses. From that, we played, I Want to Be Adored. That's one of the prizes. That's a nice little, Christmas compilation.
Second hand now then, really, isn't it?
Second hand, yeah. 50 years of the greatest hit singles. I'll tell you there's some great stuff on here. Opens, Rick, with, Bohemian Rhapsody.
One of the biggest, number ones of all time.
If you've not heard that enough already, you're followed then by, John Lennon's Imagine. Candle in the Wind, Elton John. You've got,
all on one CD, Stephen.
Well,
these are some of the greatest rock minds.
They've chosen some of the best songs by some of the best artists.
Go on.
Paul McCartney's Mull of Kintyre. That's on there. We've got, let me see.
That is pretty impressive though, because they are real big classic number ones, as opposed to, you know, the song by the artist they didn't really care about. You see those things on, this is not available in the shops, and it's, you know, the second best song artists have done.
It seems odd that we're giving it away on XFM, because it includes, Robbie Williams' Angels, Atomic Kitten's Whole Again, Spice Girls Wannabe, Kylie Minogue's, Can't Get You Out of the Head, and I think it closes, well, it almost closes with Steps Tragedy. That's the penultimate track. It ends though, any ideas? It's a big hit single. But did they know it's Christmas, Band-Aid? Perfect for your Christmas party, I'd have thought that.
Sure.
We've also got the Groove Armada current album, is that from them? And signed by the man himself, the Big Beach Boutique DVD, Fatboy Slim's concert on that Brighton beach, and there's all kinds of treats on there, and includes an audio commentary by Norman Cook. I don't know how that works. 3 hours of him going, this is where the needle almost jumps. Watch this for this. I did a little bit of scratching. I'm not very good at scratching, but just look forward to that.
I'm putting a different track. You'll see me there. Is the crowd loving it?
Here's me. I'm just waiting. This is where I go from Conga Squad to Basement Jacks. Look forward to that.
That's one of mine. I'll pop on what you see there. I've got Praise You ready.
I just got that was slightly dusty. I just had to wipe that down with a damp rag. So look forward to that. Plus, I suppose this is good if you're a fan. This is a box set of the first series of Linda Green. I think a new series starts this week, or has already started. I'll tell you what I found when I was clearing up, Rick, because I know there's not a big movie this week. We normally give away a big movie. I was moving house this week, and I found a video that you're more than welcome to if you're a fan. No, it stars Kurt Russell. Executive Decision. I've got that to give away if you're interested. Executive Decision with Steven Seagal in a cameo as well. So I think it's on TV this week, Rick. So if you miss it this coming Friday, you don't tape it this Friday.
Well,
here it is on video.
Bring it in, because I think Carl's excited about that. I think Carl would like to win that, wouldn't you?
Great prizes there.
How about if you come up with an extra Rockbusters today? For like the bonus prize.
I don't think I'm the man for the job, Carl. I think it has to come from your unique take on the world.
Carl, I don't think you've quite worked out why you're funny. And why things you do are good. Go on then.
Right, you ready then? So, just in case, you haven't heard it before, I'll give you some initials of a band or an artist.
We're not doing Rockbusters now, are we?
Yeah, I thought, well, we'll just...
Oh, then we keep that going, then we got... Well, I love Educating Ricky, that's my favourite thing now.
Well, what do you want to do, Steve?
I think it's just the clues.
It's just like it's sort of bigged up the prizes.
And so this is only by email. Give the email address out now for people to write it down now, Carl.
Right, it's ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk. Only entries on email.
Yeah.
You're gonna get 3 clues. You've got to get them all right.
And you win all the
You win all those prizes we said. Okay, Carl, go on then.
Right, and just a quick example, one of the first ones we did, it was like AK, and the clue was exploding pet.
Yeah.
And it was atomic kitten, right? Yeah. So you understand how it works now. These are your clues. The first one, that army has got some nice trenches.
That army has got some nice trenches. Excellent.
Yeah. And the initials there are DW.
Do you write some of the questions for 15 to 1?
Go on.
So that army has got some
similar phrasing.
Trenches, okay.
Okay.
The second one,
what were the initials there, Carl, on that person?
DW.
DW.
Yeah. Right, the second one, the top of them curtains are all wrecked. All the materials all worn.
He acts it out though. We've got to get him on telly. We have got to get him on telly because his little face and his gestures.
That's the second one. The initials being HV. Okay, the top of those curtains are wrecked. All the materials all worn out. Right, HV. And the final one. Here's the final clue. I was in Texas the other week. Right, I tripped and landed on my knees in a puddle.
What's the
initials? WH for that one. So I was in Texas, I tripped up, landed on my knees in a puddle. So that's WH.
Incredible.
He's got it!
Is it great?
It's fantastic! It doesn't work!
Okay, tell me during the record, Remember you're playing for these compilation albums, we got the Fatboy Slim DVD, Linda Green on VHS, and of course, Executive Decision, starring Kurt Russell as well.
Oh, God! Bob Dylan. Just Like a Woman on XFM 104.9.
Couple more names, boxing nicknames for you, Rick. I think this is from Josh. Ricky Blue Eyes, I quite like. And he's also put Toad Rage. which I quite like. I'll tell you, our #1 fan has emailed again, I'm pleased to announce. Richard Anderson, Dickie Anderson, he was in touch last week.
Back.
He
loves this show.
He's such a fan of the show, and this week he's emailed in, what actually is the point of your show? Is it to confuse, irritate, depress, or what? All of those things, Dickie. Thanks for noticing.
Oh, he loves this show.
He's such a fan. He's such a fan.
He's
Because last week, you remember, Carl, he emailed in to say that he'd rather spend his time counting his feet than listen to this show. Presumably he's done that. Yeah. And he's decided to email in.
Well, how many feet?
Incredible. Yeah.
No, but he loves this show.
Good, yeah. So, thanks, R.A. Thanks for listening.
See you later. Missy Elliott. Work It on XFM 104.9. Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington.
Educating Ricky?
Yeah.
Should I do a bit of that?
Well, the clues are coming in furious.
The answers, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. So go on then. Oh, this is what.
Yeah, Rockbusters is well underway, Carl. Don't worry, you've done your work now.
Okay.
Right, come on.
Right, Educating Ricky.
This is my favourite bit now.
You're just gonna tease us, aren't you, with 3 headlines, if you
No, I'm gonna choose one, then we got the other 2 as well.
Yeah, that's the way it works, and at the end of it, you learn some stuff. Like I say, I'm struggling a bit with knowledge.
Yeah.
At last he confesses.
Yeah, go on.
So the 3 headlines for you to pick from, we've got, first one, we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
I got a feeling there's some vegetables involved.
Yeah, go on.
Maybe. Second one, he's a bit of a nuisance.
Okay.
Right.
And, third one, I'll bacon in the morning, if you're sick of having me here.
Oh, that one. I'll bacon in the morning, if you're sick of having me here.
Right, I'm having that one.
That's brilliant.
Right, well, it's a saying. Do you know, cold shoulder? Giving someone the cold shoulder?
Yeah.
Alright, if you have someone round at your house, and, you know, you try to get rid of them, and they're hanging around and stuff, and you're like, oh, I wish they'd go, I'm tired and that. Well, years ago,
when? Literally years ago. Well, ages ago.
Sort of,
olden times.
I think it said medieval times.
Yonks ago then, yonks ago.
Yeah, medieval,
We're going back quite a bit on this one.
You know when you find out these books, why don't you just pop down when it was?
Just make a note.
I don't think it says all the time, it just sort of says, you know, a few years back.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
never.
Alright, I'll make an effort next week.
Okay.
Right? So, it's annoying that, because my girlfriend said to me, just make a note of the time and he'll stop having a go at you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And I kind of thought, it's alright.
Didn't listen.
I don't think it matters anyway in this one. We're looking at the saying, right? So
Yeah.
it's giving someone a cold shoulder, right? And what it is, right? Ages ago, there wasn't enough houses for people.
Right.
Because there wasn't much money being made. You know, there weren't big businesses. People weren't earning good money like they are now. So there wasn't as many houses, right? So what you ended up getting is like, you know, the rich people having a nice place to live. And the poor people were like wandering about, you know, looking for places to live and that. And what they ended up doing is, they had like, people would go round to the mate's house and say, look, I haven't got anywhere to live. It's a bit cold. Can you let me stay? Right? So they'd go, alright, then you can stay a couple of days. But they ended up staying for like weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So, to sort of get rid of them, what they'd end up doing, they'd be making the dinner, and they'd, be making a lovely dinner, like a bit of meat, nice warm meat, and nice veg, gravy, and
this happened every time, did it?
works.
This is where the saying came from.
This is what happened, Rick.
This is happened every time.
It was in that vague book.
The book of vague sayings and stuff.
Right, so they'd be making a nice meal, but what they did, they looked after all the family. Well, the person who won't go home, they just give them some, like, sort of a cut-off of cold meat.
Right.
So they'd say, you're giving them the cold shoulder. Meaning...
Right. Okay, that's rubbish. Okay, absolute...
Carl, why does that necessarily work?
Yeah. Why do they always, in every situation when you want to get rid of a lodger, well, still feed him every day, but make the meat lukewarm. So
they always leave then.
Yeah.
Oh, this food's lukewarm. I'm gonna become homeless
and
again, wandering the streets.
Hold on, are you giving me the cold shoulder? Yes. Do you want me to leave? Yes, just say leaving. No, I like to do it cryptically. That way, in years to come, someone will have a little saying about it.
Well, yeah, that was our bacon in the morning. If you've had enough of meat, we'll leave that.
Well, bacon in the morning! Oh, bacon in the morning if you've had enough of me!
So come back. What are the others? Just tease us again with the others. We'll come back to those.
He's a bit of a nuisance. And, we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
Nice, looking forward to that. Nirvana, in their version of The Man Who Sold the World, a David Bowie tune. It's
Good tune.
Taken from that new Nirvana compilation.
I like that version, I like the David Bowie version.
You can't decide, can you, Rick? You're torn.
In fact, I like the Lulu version as well.
Is there a Lulu version?
Maybe we should play that one, Rick. Yeah.
Was this recorded, what, in the 70s? I
think she recorded it about the same time as David Bowie. I don't know if he released it as a single. I think it was just on, off the album.
Interesting.
Carl is studying. Okay, what's the next one? What's the educating Ricky?
I don't know, see, like I say, I was looking around and there's stuff that is interesting. Right? I was looking on the web.
But there's no point.
Well, it's just that I found one about,
what's the point?
About a lad who, 8 years old, but he's still breastfed. Now, I don't know if you can get anything out of that.
Is that what his mum said? What do you mean I don't know if I can get anything out of that? You don't need to.
No, it's just that, you know...
Where did you read that?
That was on the internet.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're always unspecific when you mention it. It's just it was on the internet.
Well, I'm trying to think what I put in. I think I put in Y to see if I'd confuse a computer.
Carl, you are...
No, I did
honestly.
I did a search, put in Y, and he came up with funny things that, like, why is this person doing that, why is that... And it had a picture of this 8-year-old lad, sort of, you know, on his mum's nipple. And, it was saying, you know, is this healthy?
You sure that wasn't asking you that question?
What? I put in Y just to confuse the computer. Like, we were going, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh, look, last week, I was walking, home with him, and I went, he was saying something stupid, and I went, I've got a competition for next week. Let's do a phone-in, and it's called Karl Pilkington, Genius or Fool.
Yeah.
Right? And he went, no. I went, why not? He went, well, they'd be confusing, because they say there's no difference between genius and being a fool.
We do though, don't we?
No, but it's rubbish, and people say there's a fine line between madness and genius, and, you know, it's a ridiculous soundbite. They don't say there's a fine line between a genius and an idiot.
Well, the people who do are idiots.
Yeah.
So what would you do there, though, just to sort of wrap that little thing up? What would you do? That lad loves his mum's milk.
What are you asking me to come up with?
No, I'm
a
just...
title for the story?
No, it's just what would you do? Right?
What do you mean, what would I do?
Well, it's causing a bit of a problem in the area, right?
What area?
In America, I think it was.
Oh, America are a problem, are they? George Bush is worried about this kid who's breastfeeding at 8.
Imagine it like this, right?
Right. So, Carl, what are you asking me? About this spurious story you saw on the internet?
I saw it on the internet. There's an 8-year-old lad, he likes his mum's milk, and it's saying, is this right? Should it
No,
be
it's
going
not.
on?
But what
do you want Ricky to do about it? It's not his responsibility.
Yeah.
No, but the little town that he lives in, they're all causing an uproar, right? Going, this isn't right, you know, I can't let my kid play out in case he's in the garden with his mum getting a bit hungry, right? So,
God.
What should they do? Because his mum's saying, well, he likes it.
Yeah.
And he, you know, so what do you do?
I don't know the laws.
No, but I'm not asking you to sort out the laws. I'm just saying, if you lived in that neighbourhood, what would you say? If you went up to him and said, look, everyone's getting a bit fed up with this, look.
I'd say, what would I do? What do you mean, what would I do? What are you asking me?
Right, it doesn't matter.
No, what are you asking me? What are you asking me and Steve and the public?
I'm just saying, say if you live next door to this woman.
Yeah.
Right? The kid's hungry, 8 years old, he's out playing on his bike and he goes, Mum, I'm getting a bit peckish, and he goes, alright son. She whops one out. And he starts having his milk, right? You live next door, you're putting your washing out, and you see this going on. You're getting a bit sick of it, because it's gone on for months.
8 years, I assume.
Why is it your business? Why are you such a nosy neighbour that you're concerned?
What would you do, Carl? Let's turn it back on him. What would you do?
What's your solution?
What would you do?
Well, I thought I'd say, right, why are you doing this? And she'd say, because he likes it. And I go, alright then, put it in a bowl first.
And you think that would sort that out?
No, because I was thinking about the whole thing, right, and you do that when you're a baby, and everything's alright, innit?
Yeah.
No one bats an eyelid at a little baby having a bit of milk from its mum's breast, right?
Yeah.
You'd almost say it was natural.
But you grow out of it. It's like, you don't see. It got me thinking about things you don't see. And you don't see.
Did you put this into a computer? Show me things you don't see.
What else don't you see?
Well, you don't see, like, an old man having a Twix. You never... So what?
You know the terrible thing about all this, Steve, is he's right.
You don't see an old man eating a Twix.
That's a terrible thing.
So what they have got, right, they've made old man toffees, haven't they? They've come up with Gervais.
Is that a song? Oh God! You don't see it.
No, listen now. So they've got their Werthers, right?
Yeah.
So
look at him! You think he's giving a lecture at Oxford?
It's not going anywhere.
No, go on, sorry. Go on.
I'm just saying,
right,
you grow out of things.
Yeah.
And the old man, I'm sure when he was a kid, he'd have a Twix.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't look right, so he's having...
It doesn't look right!
So...
Right.
I don't think Werther's originals were specially designed for old people. I think they were sweets that just happened to have been made for years. That's why old people eat them.
Yeah.
They didn't go, hang on, there's a market here. I've noticed old people aren't eating Twixes. Quick, let's make some old man sweets.
But the little advert, he gives it to his grandson as well, doesn't he? He goes, I have a Werther's original.
Now, I think it cuts, though, before he throws it back in his face and get me a Twix. And a damn curly-whirly, Grandad, you old fool.
Electric Six, Danger, High Voltage on XFM, 104.9. Sums up the show. Danger, High Voltage. Indeed. Ricky Gervais with me, Steve Merchant, and the amazing Karl Pilkington. So, other things you don't see, Karl? Got any other ones, or you obviously been thinking about this?
What
confuses you? When you look out your window, what confuses you with the world? What do you walk around going, oh, that's a bit weird? I remember, when you were in, Edinburgh, you were confused because you saw someone putting a parking ticket on some rubbish, which confused you.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah.
The world's a crazy place, isn't it? I mean, whatever you look at, you can... Do you know what I mean?
Like what? Like what?
Well, anything. I mean, you could look out the window there and you'll see something, you go, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
What are they doing that for?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you this maybe we should bring back White Van Karl. There's some interesting questions this week, Rick.
Yeah.
We could pull that out of the bag if you're interested.
Shall we do that?
Just get Karl's take on the world's
Let's do it,
views.
let's do it.
I'll tell you what, we'll do that in a second. Let's have another Educating Ricky, because I think you got sidetracked with your talk of
Well, just the other thing on things you don't see. Look at the way when I went to school, there was 2 kids with them big heads. Now,
you don't
never see them.
Sure.
Yeah, but no one else saw them anyway, Karl. It was only you that saw 2 of them, not related, and wouldn't hang around with each other, because you think they thought it would be too obvious. Webbed fingers and big heads. That's amazing.
And there was a kid with a pigeon chest, so...
Oh yeah, and the lady with the head like a bag of spuds.
Let's not go through these again. It just raises too many questions that can't be answered.
Yeah.
Right then, so, we've got, we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
Yeah, go on.
Is that the one you want?
Let's go for it.
Right, I think this was like round the 1700s.
Bluffing.
And...
Just bluffing.
Who was the king then?
Dunno.
Go on.
But it's about the word bonfire, right?
Bonfire.
Bonfire.
Yeah.
Do you know where it comes from?
No, go on.
No.
Right, what happened is it's got nothing to do with Guy Fawkes and that, which is what I thought when I saw it. It's got nothing to do with that. But ages ago, at 1700s,
yeah.
Right, didn't have enough houses, like I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if that happens, you get people living on the streets. You get diseases, people aren't cleaning properly. So you get more deaths. Alright?
Yeah.
So, think about it. You've got all these dead bodies lying around. They're running out of space. Because there's, like, I don't know why they're running out of space. But, okay. They haven't got much, I don't know why, really. I was gonna say they should have just buried them, but... there's probably more land back then than now.
He doesn't need anyone else in the room to have a conversation with himself. Yeah, we could leave and we'd come back and he'd go, I've sorted it. Yeah.
But anyway, for some reason...
they presumably, if it's gonna be they burnt them, it's presumably to do that it also kills the parasite or whatever's carrying the parasite on them, as opposed to burying them and not killing the disease.
Well, yeah. So there you go, you've worked it out. They piled them up, and they turned it into a celebration, because there was a lot of fed-up people at that time.
Is this to be the word bon, meaning good?
No, I'll tell you in a minute.
Go on.
So, you've got all these people who are, like, going around, and like, oh, you know, so-and-so died the other day, and, you know, nearly every week someone they knew was dying. Yeah. So you can imagine, like, just constant, like, being depressed. So, and they've got all these bodies lying everywhere. It's like, oh, God, what are we gonna do? So they said, we're all too fed up at the moment. Said, let's make this a better world.
This was 1701 by the time they got together.
Yeah.
So they said, what we need to do is, have a big party. So they said, yeah,
good thinking.
See what you're thinking. So, they go, right, well, we'll put all the bodies in a big pile. And they're all diseased and that, so they set fire to the bodies. And they said, let's have this as a celebration to remember them by. And, you know, we'll have a drink and that, and have a chat. We'll have this big fire going, and it came from bone fire.
Ah, right.
So it was all the bones. Bonfire is bone fire.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah?
That's interesting.
So that's how it came about.
Yeah, in the 1700s.
Yeah.
That was?
No, probably, I reckon it was 1600.
Probably earlier.
I reckon it was the plague. I reckon it came from.
But, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
So that's,
Did you celebrate Bonfire Night? Is that a big celebration for you? Do you like the fireworks? I'm sick of fireworks. I just think they're rubbish.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
I've never been impressed by fireworks. Even as a kid, you know, you'd have to go to, like, sort of community kind of gatherings with the bonfire and fireworks, and some local vicar or whatever would come out and...
But I also think the adults think the kids love it, and everyone, and if they just got together and said, should we go to see it, they'd all go, no.
Absolutely.
Let's not go this year.
What would be better is if the vicar had wheeled out like a massive rocket, climbed in, gone last one to the moon as a bender, and then fired himself off. Now that, I'd pay to see. That's a fireworks display I'd like to see. As it is, it's just rubbish.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Carl?
Yeah, I'm not keen.
No.
Sorry, what clue was that?
We'll have a big fire tomorrow.
Bone marrow. Bone marrow. Genius. Let's play the record.
Oh, God! Right, what's this? Go on. Tell them, go on, just get on with it, because I just can't believe what you just said.
What we're doing, are we, final one?
Yeah.
Right, the last one, like I said...
No. Say the record. Say the record you played. Go on.
This is, free association.
Yeah, brilliant,
I wish I had a wooden art.
Yeah, and what did you just say to me just before this was ending? He just looked over at me and went, are there any animals without a brain?
No, but hang on a minute.
No, right. And I went, yeah, there's animals that he went, I was gonna talk about this, but it's sad. There's a lad born without a brain, and he laughs a lot, and his hearing and his sight's okay. I'll go, well, that's impossible. If he's without a brain, all that is impossible. And he went, well, it was in the magazine.
No, it was in a book that somebody sent.
Right.
And I didn't want to bring it up, because it is a bit sad, really. That this, young lad, there's a picture of him sat there with his mum, and,
Carl!
Well,
Carl!
Forget it.
It's impossible.
Well, there must have been more to the story,
He
Carl.
can't not have a brain. Hearing and sight is a concept within the brain. That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
The ears are just receptacles. They're just, So,
but that's why it was in this book. It was a book of mysteries.
Carl, if you're reading a book and you see a photo and you guess at what you think the story might be, that doesn't make it true. That doesn't make it fact.
I looked at it because I thought he looks like an happy lad.
Sure.
And I read about it and I thought, that's weird. Like you've said, the fact that he hasn't got a brain but he can see and he can hear.
No! Impossible!
Well,
impossible.
Okay.
Go on. I don't know who to believe. Listen, we haven't done it for a while. White Van Man. I thought there's some interesting questions raised today, and I think it might be nice to just throw them Carl.
I think we set Carl up again in the last hour as a person that people want to know his opinions on the world.
If you're not familiar with it, on Saturdays the Sun newspaper asks a typical white van driver questions his opinions on the week's news, and we thought we'd throw these in the direction of Carl. And then what do you make of this teenage thug, Carl, Mickey Carroll, who spent 4 months in jail and he's won 9.7 million on the lottery? Is that justice? When you think of all the good people that are going hungry? And there's a lad there and he's won.
Did he buy the ticket before he went in?
No, I think he bought it once he'd come out.
So he's done his time.
He's done his time.
Fair enough then, he's been punished.
Yeah.
Right? He's bought a ticket. He's had a lot of bad luck. Now he's having a bit of good luck.
Right, next one.
Are you concerned that now he's got all that money he could turn into like a sort of mastermind villain? Like a James Bond style villain? He's got a criminal streak, we know that. Is that a concern for you? I mean, imagine that he could build some kind of underwater fortress.
We don't, with my lawyer's hat on, we don't know that.
Yeah, well. Well, he'd have to prove that he didn't have a criminal streak. I'd say you've been in jail for 4 months.
Yeah, sometimes people are bad because they haven't got any money, so he might be an angel of gold now, or whatever.
1 in 5 children aged between 11 and 16 go on booze binge sessions at least once a week. That's terrifying news, isn't it?
Kids, they know too much now.
Yeah.
You despair.
Right? Listen to this one, right?
Go on.
My dad had me niece in the car, right, running her to school one day, and she was in the back of the car with a mate, and they chatting away about stuff like kids do. And he got onto the topic of one of the mates, who he said, I mean, you've got to remember, niece, this point, was probably about 5 or 6, something like that, right? In the back of the car, talking about My Little Pony, whatever it is they play with. Subject changed. Oh, that Lisa in our class, she's a lesbian, isn't she?
Right.
That's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Chatting away about it.
Just openly talking about lesbianism.
And probably, this is the topic that they're talking about in the pub when they're having one. Out drinking.
Yeah, but they might have thought a lesbian was a funny word or something. You don't necessarily know the ins and outs of it, do they?
He's weird though, isn't it? Because when I was younger at school, you didn't you swore a little bit, but it wasn't like major swear words, and you sort of did a little bit of nicking, but nothing like they get up to now. I mean,
my girlfriend, when she was about 7 or 8, just walked to school with her mum, and she called her a C-U-N. Right?
You are joking.
No, she said, because she thought it was she said she thought it was a big furry animal. So she was being nice, and I remember, where'd you do that? Where'd you do that? Like, just heard it at school. So they might not know what it means.
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna have to use kind of euphemisms here to tell this story, but when I was at school, I learned, the stronger version, it's not the same word, but it's very similar with one letter changed. I'm gonna use twit.
Yeah.
You know the word I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use the word twit to replace it, right? And I went round...
You think they're twat?
Yeah. Alright. That's what I'm thinking of. And, so can I say it? Am I allowed to say it?
No, it's weird though, because some people from Cornwall use that like saying twit. So, if people listen in Cornwall...
Do you know a twit is a pregnant goldfish?
Well...
Well, I learned the stronger version of twit.
Yeah.
Twat. For those that aren't sure. I learned this at school when I was like 10 or whatever, and I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was just a stronger version of twit.
Yeah.
I thought it was just if you were really annoyed with someone because they were a real twit.
Because I is worse than I.
Exactly, apparently. So, you know, Karl would be a twit. And,
Yeah.
And so I started using this at home, because I didn't realise what it meant. I started using this at home, oh, you twit, you're a twit, and saying it to my dad, you're a twit, you know, but not saying twit.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't know what it meant either.
That's great!
I couldn't believe. So he started using it as well, right? So then we'd be driving in the car, he'd be saying to my mum, you stupid twit. Say this to my mum, you don't pull over, you're gonna bullet you, twat. Saying this. Then I learned at school from Mark Johnson what it really meant.
Yeah.
Stopped using it, obviously finding out it was quite an offensive word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up to my dad. I didn't want to sit my dad down and say, Dad, you know that word we've been saying?
Yeah.
You know what it means? So now, to this day, I've never brought it out with him. So we'll be driving, you know, I'll go in for Christmas, we'll be driving around, he'll be calling my mum that word. Left, right and centre. I think she knows. I think she's just embarrassed. Or she's just upset and she knows what it means. She goes, why does he keep calling me this terrible word? But he's the only one, I think, in our family who doesn't know what it means. No one's got the guts to say, I don't know whether I should tell him this Christmas.
What a twat.
I know.
Good to hear that again.
Always good to hear that.
Suede. Animal Nitrate. Carl's all flustered because there isn't a record set up, but he's getting all tizzy. He's been more worried about his competitions than sorting out putting records on. Ready? What?
I'm after Steve's Song for a Lover.
Well, I'll tell you what, you, why don't you carry on with your, educating Ricky section? I'll have a look on the CD.
We'll keep it going, Steve.
Yeah,
Cover
you
it.
keep
Go on. Go on then, right, okay. We've had a few emails. Anyone got it right, Carl? Anyone
Educating Ricky, that's the final one. We've got to get that out of the way.
We've got to get Rockbusters as well, though.
We can do that at the end, we can
Go on then.
But we've only got 5 minutes left.
Come on, just do Educating Ricky.
Right. God. The last one that we haven't done is, he's a bit of a nuisance.
Go on then.
Again, not really that interesting.
Thanks.
No, like, again, I spoke to you in a week, and I had much better things, like when I tell you about Brian Blessed climbing Everest, and for some reason it made him, it played havoc with his belly, and he followed through, and he had to clean up.
Shut himself?
Yeah, using ice and snow.
Why are you telling me that Brian Blessed, in what way is telling me that Brian Blessed shit himself once in any way educational?
Because I was saying how he was climbing Everest, right?
Right.
I give it to him, he's an actor and that, but he gave that a go.
Yeah.
Right? He played...
What's the point of that, you'd say, wouldn't you?
You'd say, God, he's you know...
So he's alright. Me doing a boxing match for no reason is rubbish, but him climbing Everest and shitting himself...
Yeah, he did that.
...is commendable.
Right, and he's only gonna, like, go and do it again. He's gonna climb it again.
Yeah, but he might not shit himself this time.
Yeah, what's the point in going? Nothing's changed up there.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
What's it been?
Well, it has. They've probably cleared it up by now. Right, but, it's slip on it.
I can't really bother telling you this one, because...
Come on! Just do it, or do it now!
Steve, how we doing?
Look, no, never mind that. Look, just tell me what that means. Oh, he's a nuisance. Oh, this is so annoying, Carl. I'm gonna go mental.
Right,
talk!
Right, listen, I'm just putting this in here, right? Right, nuisance is a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
Apparently, the old fella who used to hang people...
1700s?
Yeah. He used to be able to tell somebody's weight just by looking at them. Right? That's a bit of a bonus fact.
We'll be the judge of that.
The thing that I wanted to tell you is, money for old rope, do you know what I'm saying? I can't even be bothered.
Yes, you're gonna tell me now. Come on, Carl.
Right,
I mean it.
Basically, money for old rope came from the... right.
What was all that about? He can tell someone's weight. What was that
bonus
for?
fact.
And Brian Blessed shitting himself. What are you... What? No, don't you... No, tell me that now. You nearly made me swear then. I'm getting really annoyed. I'm getting really annoyed now. Tell me this back, Carl, or I'm gonna go mental.
Come on, Carl, time's running out.
More that people, years ago, when people used to be hung, right?
Right.
If you didn't like the person who's been hung, you'd go, God, I really don't like him, and so you never forget the time.
Even if they're being hung, we take that as read.
Yeah. So they never forget afterwards to get the hangman to get the rope and to cut it up into little pieces, and he'd sell them. He'd sell the little pieces of rope to people.
See, Carl, that's the most interesting thing, if it's true, that you've come up with.
Right, okay. And so what's... So they sell the rope.
They sell the rope, and it's money for old rope.
Money for old rope.
Meaning, like, you know, God, it's easy to make money. That all they have to do is cut it up and sell it.
I'm cynical. I'm not so convinced.
Right, listen, we're really tight. We haven't even got time for a last joke. We've got an ad break, and we've got to give out.
Okay, give the answers then. This is ridiculous.
So, Steve, do you want to pick a winner?
I've got a winner when you give us the answers.
Okay, so the first clue was that army has got some well nice trenches.
Yeah.
That was DW.
Who's that?
Dandy Warhols.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's good, yeah.
The second one. The top of them curtains are wrecked. All the material is worn.
Yeah.
HV. That's Holly Valance.
Oh, he got a phone call for a woman saying that I haven't heard it, and he was talking to her off air, and she went, what is it? So-and-so, them curtains. Went, oh right. He said, you know the thing around the top of the, curtain is a Palmet, not a Valance, and he went, cut her off.
Yeah, but my auntie's always making balances on everything. I'll tell you about that next week, right?
I'm looking forward to that.
Right. Is this the one that farted for 5 minutes?
Yeah, the very same.
Yeah.
Right? So, we'll talk about that. I was in Texas, I tripped up, I landed on my knees in a puddle, WH.
Yeah.
Wet knee Houston. Right?
Wet knee Houston.
Yeah. So,
you're a maniac.
So, who's a winner?
We've got Pete, Catherine and Laura in Newcastle upon Tyne. They're listening online, I assume, and they're going to get those great prizes. And remember, they got loads of stuff. They got the DVD here. They got Linda Green. They got Stone Roses. They got another compilation and executive decision.
What did you read about Brian Blessed? Is it actually true, or have you lied with someone else?
It was an interview with him in it.
And what did he say? Oh, come on! What did he say?
He said I climbed Everest and I played havoc with me belly. Let's talk about it next week. We've really run out now.
Oh, you're a fool. Foo Fighters, All My Life on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais with me, Steve Merchant, and Karl Pilkington.
Indeed.
Genius Karl Pilkington, as Heat magazine said.
Really? Is that what he's referred to now?
Yeah, yeah. Genius. Saying about people tune in just to hear his games, such as Educating Ricky. Have you got some Educating Ricky for me?
Got some education.
I need some education, Karl. I desperately need some education. I want to learn about Chinese kids that are born hairier than average. I want to hear about deaf girls that can hear after their mum hits their head against a wall. These are the things I need to know.
I mean, I don't wish to be disrespectful. He doesn't look like a genius.
He doesn't look like a genius.
But then I don't know what a genius looks like.
Exactly.
So,
Steve.
you know, I don't want to be an
look at Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His mum thought he was mental as a child.
Where'd you get that information from?
That was in the Einstein book.
Well, it was in the Einstein book, then it's presumably true.
Which Einstein book is that? His Theory of Relativity?
The big book of Einstein stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the big bumper book of Einstein stuff. It's for a coach trip, and you have to fill in, E equals MC1 squared, 2 fish, or 3 hello, and then it's multiple choice, and you fill it. It's great. It's
Did his mum think, A, he was a genius, B, mental?
Most people go for A, but it is in fact B. She thought he was mental at the age of 28. Oh, Karl, you never let me down. You never let me down. So have you got Educating Ricky for me?
We've got Educating Ricky coming up.
We've got Rockbusters.
We've got Rockbusters.
Some great
as seen and talked about in Heat.
In Heat magazine.
It's got really tough this week now. We're not messing about anymore.
Right.
Got some good prizes.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll talk about those later. Because, I mean, was it last week that you had the classic? Was it, I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, Karl, apologies. Something like, I'm here in Texas, I've fallen in a puddle, and my knee has got wet.
Yeah. Wet knee Houston.
Wet knee Houston, Whitney Houston.
Yeah. And also, it was last week when there was a little bit of confusion over, the one for Holly Valance.
Right? Of course. I don't think it was confusion, I think it was your error.
No, it wasn't.
And it was Holy Valance, and you meant Pelmet.
Then, Becky, who called up that time and said, oh, if you're getting mistaken with, Pelmet, right, she sent me an email in a week, saying, I've done a bit of research, it was my fault, I've made an error, it is a Valance.
Okay.
And I know about Valances, as I told you last week, at the very end, me auntie loves them.
Yeah.
Right? She makes them. She started off just like putting them on top of the, sort of window around the curtain. And then she thought, oh, I can do more with this. And she had a little coffee table that had magazines underneath, and she said, I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I'm sat down.
She sounds like a Pilkington.
I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I sit down.
So she put a Valance around the table.
She just got Valances around everything now.
Then, next step, She tapes everything. She never actually watches telly. She tapes it all because she gets sick of listening to the adverts and that.
Yeah.
So she tapes everything. So she's got loads of videotapes and that. And the video used to get on her nerves. When she was watching a film, she'd see the clock changing.
Oh.
And it distracted her from the film. So she put a balance around that.
Yeah.
That's genius!
Yeah.
So, that is
or is it mental?
Only
Mrs. Einstein can tell.
I don't know. She's even made a little, Jack Russell look like a hovercraft.
Yeah.
It's great.
So everything's got a balance.
If you go round and you stand still for too long, the chances are you'll put a balance around your head.
Yeah. This is this is Auntie who?
Auntie Nora.
And this is the one that farted for 5 minutes. Lest our listeners forget. Farted for 5 minutes, called his mum, saying I'm farting. 2 minutes into the fart.
She said about 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah. God.
She said I'm about 2.5 minutes into the
my mum said, how long's it been going on for? She said, well, it was about 2.5 minutes before I called you.
Yeah.
And then it went on for a further 2.5 minutes or something. And, then it stopped.
She couldn't time it because there was a balance over the clock.
Yeah,
because it used to annoy her when she was on the phone and you put her off, see the time. She was guessing it was 5 minutes.
This was one consistent fart.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't making a noise, it was just...
Oh, it wasn't making a noise?
Just gas.
Right, endless gas.
So, there you
That's
go.
fantastic. Well, we started off with a new one, a little bit of Foo Fighters. We like new and old on this show, don't
Indeed, we like to mix it up.
I'd like to play the Smiths from their debut album, I Don't Owe You Anything. I Don't Owe You Anything. The lads from, Karl's hometown there.
Indeed.
The Smiths. Brilliant, that one. Wow, I went to Manchester, didn't I, the other day? Went up to Manchester for a little corporate. It was alright.
Yeah.
He went, wait till you get out, you see Piccadilly, it's better than Euston. Right. It was, you know, it was nicer. I went outside and there was a ridiculous queue, and sort of one cab.
Right, yeah.
So,
horse-drawn.
Yeah, and so I walked, and it was okay, it was only down the road, it was a bit dark, it was wet and raining, of
Obviously,
course.
it's the north.
I know, yeah. The hotel was very nice, but no minibar, I've never seen that before, I've travelled all over the world seeing them in a hotel without a minibar.
No,
so I don't know what's going on then, I don't know what's going on there. And then I did this corporate gig in Old Trafford. The pitch was up, I don't know what they were doing, but, you know, very impressive, big impressive. I think they're the richest football club, aren't they, Karl?
Yeah.
You did a gig at where?
Old Trafford. It was in a function room.
Oh,
there,
well, I thought it was the stadium.
No, I'm not that big yet. No. But I mean, you know, I can't really comment on Manchester. I do know that Liverpool was voted most important music city via poll.
True enough.
So, Karl, you're making noises while I'm talking.
Yeah, but you do this all the time trying to wind me up. And I'm not saying Manchester's the best place in the world, but what I'm saying is, there's bits of it that I really miss.
Yeah.
Like last Sunday, right? When I'd met up with Ricky, we had spaghetti bolognese, which was alright. And then I said to her, I need some soil.
Damn, I wish you'd invited me, it sounds amazing.
So I need some soil, what do you think?
You need some what, soil?
Soil, yeah.
I need to repot a plant, right?
Yeah.
So,
you need to repot a plant?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
So, I'm like, where, you can't see these shops in London.
You can't.
Do you know what I mean? There's nothing around.
I took him straight to one in my street.
Yeah, but near your street, and that's probably the only one in London.
Well, you say that, Karl.
No, it does annoy me. Round my way, it's like, you know...
You can't move for soil shops.
You can't. There's earth, you can just pick up handfuls walking down the street.
Yeah, incredible.
Which
People
is-
just lean over into someone's front garden. No, you can take the plants as well.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Go on.
Manchester, there's loads of decent hardware shops.
Yeah.
Here, you know, if you want a panini and a latte or whatever, you can't move for 'em. But for soil, I had to go virtually how many miles away from me to carry that soil home and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not I mean, London's alright, but if cities were sort of
It's neglecting the peat. Market, really,
Well,
isn't
there's barely any mulch available in central London.
I'm sick and tired of not getting a good decent compost of a Sunday.
Indeed.
So, you know, I'm thinking of moving to the north. Where there is loads of soil and gravel.
Indeed.
And animal shite.
whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, you were going to say if you're marking cities out of 10, what would you give London?
Well, if you were marking them on, like, you know, on what they have.
Right.
as opposed to what?
Well, as opposed to...
How
the
you
name.
spell it.
Say, like, I think the greatest city in the world is Rome. Right,
Okay.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been?
What, yeah, why do you think that, though?
Just because, like, you turn a corner and there's something there that's really old. Right?
Right.
Like, you're going down a normal street.
Go and stay in a Derby and Joan club.
Yeah.
No, but it's like you're going down the road and then you turn a corner and like the Colosseum's in the middle of a busy road. It's like, what's that doing there?
Yeah.
And just when you think there's no more, you turn another corner.
It's almost as if that was there first.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? London.
Yeah.
What have we got? You know, Trafalgar Square's world known. And you go there, what's that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of space there. Get one big B&Q.
In Trafalgar Square.
To cater for the whole of people who live sort of central Londonish.
Yeah.
And then I'd be happy, but what I'm saying
with Nelson just popping up through the middle? Because you can still see it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
B&Q, so B&Q could be like the whole sort of flat thing and make it sort of grey so it looked like rock, and then Nelson popping
Make it classy is what you're saying.
Yeah. Stone clad it. So it looks like you've made an effort.
Exactly.
And then you can pop in, and then you can go out and go, oh look, Nelson's column. Oh look at that, isn't Nelson, oh look at that, the victory, defeat, that's fantastic, one of the greatest living. I need some nails.
Yeah. Perfect. Killing two birds with one stone, you say?
But why isn't there more than them shops? Because when I went into yours, every time I've been in there twice now. The first time was to get a shower head, right?
Right.
And I went in there, couldn't resist buying something else. I ended up getting some super glue as well.
Blimey. Hey, big spender.
And then, last Sunday we went in there, got 2 bags of soil, not one, I bought 2. And I bought some scissors to cut plants with.
Secateurs.
Well, you never know when you want, you know, you might need more soil, I suppose.
Well, I've got
You've stocked up now. Where'd you keep it under your bed?
Sorry, this isn't going out, is it, this conversation? It's not going out on air.
I got a feeling it might be.
You're joking. We've better play a record.
Okay.
Play a classic. I hate to say I told you so on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais, obviously, with me, Steve Merchant, and Karl Genius Pilkington.
Absolutely. I was watching a bit of TV.
Karl the Brain Pilkington.
The Brains. I was watching a bit of TV last night, Rick.
Go on.
And I had a little
Children
thought.
Need?
No, I didn't watch Children Need.
No,
I was watching something, I think it was last night, it was a bit earlier. I had a little thought for lads that might be out tonight, you know, on the Raz.
Yeah.
Maybe they get a little bit of success with the ladies.
Yeah.
This was something that struck me as I was watching it. A lot of gentlemen, you know, when they're engaged in, you know, an act of, you know, relations with a lady, they like to sort of, you know, think of an image or something that will prevent them from, you know, and you catch my drift. We're men in the world.
Grandmother's funeral is the cliche, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'll tell you what I think it should be. Rick Waller jogging. I was watching Fit Club. I have never seen anything
I
like
liked it when
Rick.
Harvey lost it with him.
Oh man alive. I mean, I know I slag him off, but I don't really like him either. I just think he comes across appallingly, and I think, you know,
when he just walked away in that mid-conversation talking to that bloke, they're doing it for his good, really.
But he's like 31 stone?
I think he lost a bit. I think he's 29 now. Don't exaggerate, Steve. You're making him sound like a fat.
but you know, I mean, yeah.
That was close, wasn't it?
When having sex, you know, apparently, thinking of, Rick Waller. Helps.
Oh, don't look what's happened.
Exactly.
That's the reverse effect. Yeah. Oh, no, me and Karl.
No, if you're with a lady, apparently that works.
I know, he's out now, isn't he? He's out.
Did he walk out?
I think so. I think that's it, from what I can...
No, I think next week they kick him out, because I read something about, they get rid of him next week because of his attitude, and first time I read it, I thought he'd actually ate someone's hat. But it was...
You lost me.
You got rid of him because of the attitude. Oh!
Everything you think of now is puns. You can't get puns out of your head, can you?
Oh, Karl, you're great. Look at his little face.
He's so pleased. How long have you been working on that?
You've gotta give him that. That was a real joke. Look at his face. He knew it was funny. It was meant to be funny. He said it to be funny, and it was. Well done. Well done.
I'm just interested, I just want to dissect it, because it was brilliant, and I'm wondering, how long have you been working on it?
About 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff, it was worth the wait.
I got it now.
Oh, well done.
The attitude.
Well, I don't think, there's only one band that can top that. Another band from Manchester, Oasis.
Oh.
Vines. Ms. Jackson on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington. Right. Getting towards that time where Karl really kicks into action. We've got the quiz. We've got Rockbusters. The quiz that's a bit like Blockbusters, but mainly around music. Yeah, and a pun. a scenario based in wordplay by Karl. You know how good he is at that.
Can I tell you what the prizes are this week? Because they're worth playing for.
Please do.
Okay, we got on DVD the Manic Street Preachers Greatest Hits on DVD. The videos, I'm assuming. The film Human Traffic, it's a remixed DVD version of that. I think we were giving this away last week. You've obviously got a bulk stock of these. Groove Armada's Love Box, an album from them. The best air guitar album in the world ever. That's got the likes of Queen, Adams, Palmer, Leopard,
Aerosmith.
Idol. I don't see it.
I think the Smiths should be on there.
We got Purple, Wolf, Cooper, Top, Quo, and, Back, Nickelback. Now there was another one around actually. I seem to have lost one of the prizes, Carl. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is, you may have seen this advertised on TV, the Best Bands Ever album. And, just imagine who this is aimed at. It's got, Oasis on there, Nickelback, Coldplay, The Dandy Warhols, Bohemian Like You, in brackets, as featured in the Vodafone TV ads. Then it's got Smash Mouth, Walking on the Sun, as featured in the Ford Fiesta TV ads.
It's for people who didn't know they liked indie.
Exactly.
I don't like indie, but you do. Do you like this advert? Yeah. Do you like this advert? Yeah. Well, you like indie then? I do! I love indie!
Can't believe it!
That's great!
Yeah. The Mock Turtles, Can You Dig It? As featured in the Vodafone TV ads.
I really like indie!
Do you love, the T-Mobile TV ad?
Yeah?
You'll love this. It's got Royce Cup on there, which is featured in there. So that's an album for people who don't like music.
That's great. That's coming up, Rockbusters.
But I also have a movie, because you know last week I gave away Executive Decision.
Yeah.
That was on TV last night,
yes.
so you didn't receive my copy.
But they probably watched it before it was on TV.
Yeah.
A few days before.
I was clearing out, Rick, last night. I found another one which might be just to entice people.
Go on. What is it? It's coming out the bag.
The Pelican Brief.
Oh!
Another arbitrary film choice on VHS. Pelican Brief. Roberts, Washington. You know,
get it now on VHS before there are no more VHSs around.
It was $6.99. I'm giving that away as well.
That's great, and that's his personal collection.
That's from my personal collection.
Did you see that picture, Karl?
I don't think it's even rewound from when I watched it.
Really?
No, it's not. You can rewind that yourself.
Brilliant. That's a little touch of Steve Match in there.
Exactly.
Did you see that picture that you brought in?
I have actually. Can I see it again, Karl? Yeah, it's just a picture. You carry it with you, do you? You know what?
Well, no, he found it, right?
Last week I was sorting it, because I'm moving. I'm sorting all my, files out and that. And, because this is the only school picture.
So he had one school picture taken when he was that 10 in 1981?
I was about 8 and 9.
Okay, tell the story. Why is that the only school picture you had taken?
Just because, no, I had them all, I was always had them taken, right? But my dad thought they were overpriced for what you get. Because really, he said that the whole idea of a good picture is like, not only the person that's in it, but like the surroundings.
Yeah.
So like, if you're on holiday, he'll look at me and he'll go, oh yeah, you're looking well there. What's that hill in the background? Or something like that. Whereas with
that's Rick Waller, catching up.
But all you get on these school pictures is like a blue background, isn't it? Yeah. So it was like, I'm not paying for that.
Sure.
And it was a big one, you get a bigger one than that, but that's just like a little passport size, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That was £1.60. and he wasn't really happy paying that, because he said you could get like some done from True Print for a lot cheaper.
That he could take himself.
Yeah.
So, and so did he tell you at the time that was the last time he was paying for a school picture?
He said, I'll get you one, because it's good to have a picture of you at school.
Yeah.
Because they hardly ever went and all that. So he said, like...
What's that in the background? That's from school, Dad.
Yeah. Oh, I don't recognise it. You got any interesting stories about it? Not really.
So, I was a good-looking kid there, wasn't I?
What are you doing with your mouth, though, Karl? It looks like you're it looks like a bit like you're a ventriloquist dummy.
What do you mean?
Well, it looks like you're sort of scrunching your mouth up, or pursing your lips or something. Do you not think? I mean, now you've got, dare I say it, very kissable lips. So in here, look how thin they are. Look at those little thin lips. It's like you...
I'm smiling.
That's a smile?
That's what I didn't recognise that either.
I didn't realise that was a smile.
Is that what you look like when you smile?
What's happening with the head?
Has your dad seen you smile before then?
Well, I think that's why he wanted to buy one as well. That's like, so he can remember what it was like.
Right.
Because I don't smile.
When did you stop smiling? When was the last time you had fun and you just like happy-go-lucky? When can you remember when you had no weight of the world on your shoulders?
I often think that. Because I don't sleep like I did, like when I was a kid. I had really good sleeps, and now I don't.
Right.
So, I think...
But you've got a lot of things on your mind, you know, where can I buy soil?
Yeah, how can I confuse a computer by tapping in Y in the search engine?
Yeah. Probably when I was 14 I was stress-free.
Where?
Yeah.
When was the paper round?
Probably when I was 15.
Right. That's when it started, was it?
I reckon. That's when I started getting stressed.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the haircut you've got in the, because obviously I've not seen you before with hair, and it's an interesting mop. Do you have that done at a barber's?
No, my mum used to do it.
Yeah, she got that?
Yeah.
Right,
She used to, what she used to do, you can't see it in that picture, but there was one where she did, bit of a mess of it. I mean, it looks quite...
I can't tell from this picture.
No, but that's one of the better ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Were you bullied much?
On one of them, she used to, like, use a bit of newspaper in front of my eyes, so she didn't, like, stick these scissors in my eyes.
So newspaper stops scissors every time.
Yeah, because I think they use that for bulletproof vests.
Yeah, the tough fabric of a reconstituted newspaper will stop the scissor any time.
No, definitely. I remember, because I know a lot of UN guys, when they're on patrol, they use some old copies of The Sun.
They put it in their pocket.
Yeah, the Daily Star.
Sorry, yeah, okay, yeah.
So, she used to always be on a Sunday night when, like, Songs of Praise is on or something, nothing was on the telly, just before Last of the Summer Wine or something. Yeah. And she used to get the,
what a depressing time that was.
It was.
Having your hair cut and listening to Songs of Praise, waiting for Last Summer Wine.
Yeah.
I always used to get depressed on Sunday nights.
Well, I'll tell you
and it wasn't because school was the next morning, it was because the telly was so shite.
I think it was because school was next morning, because Antiques Roadshow still does that for me. I see the Antiques Roadshow, I love it, but I'm just thinking I've got to go to school or work tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Roadshow, I wish they put it on the week.
But I know, I've never really had that. When I worked, I suppose. I work now. Don't I? No. Oh, what giveaway. What giveaway.
Sorry, you were telling us a story about...
So anyway, she'd get the newspaper,
right,
and she'd stick it in front of my eyes, and,
what does that say? Go on.
So she'd
You inherited a lot from your mum, didn't you?
So she'd cut me fringe, right?
Yeah.
But then she'd go, oh, it's not straight. It's not very good. So she'd go again, and she'd keep going, and the problem
is that why you're bald now?
I was to say, is this that you have got hair, but she has to get it right.
Yeah.
It takes her to the back of your neck to get it even.
She sort of removed the newspaper, and she was like, oh, God. I said, what? She goes, oh, I'm sorry. And like...
What, did this happen every Sunday?
No. Can I ask you, Carl, when she was cutting your hair in this picture, do you think she was maybe sidetracked by an interesting article in the paper and really wasn't paying attention to what she was doing?
Or did her favourite hymn come on?
Yeah,
and she started
or Compo was rolling down the hill.
In a bath.
So yeah, I ended up with, like, you know, a fringe sort of on the back of my head, because she just kept going further and further.
Sure.
But,
when did you start going to that barber that was on the railway station?
That's when I started work, so, you know, sort of 16, 17.
And is he the one that said you have the hair of a Chinaman?
He's the one yeah.
He sounds like a wise man.
Well, can I just stop? I think maybe we should play a tune, but maybe you could bring in some photos next week, Rick, and we can talk about them on the radio.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna do a card trick. Right, take a card. Any card. Yeah. Right, look at it. Is that your card?
Boy with the Arab strap, Belle and Sebastian. Coming next, Educating Ricky.
You too, Electrical Storm. Steve, am I mental, or have we been playing some great tunes
We've
today?
been playing some great tunes. You're not mental. You're a genius.
Yeah. On XFM 104.9 with Gervais with me, Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington. Karl Pilkington in the chair now. The talked about, the acclaimed Educating Ricky.
Right, well, just in case anyone's new, doesn't normally listen, basically, I'm educating Ricky. Do a bit of research in the week, find stuff, news, history, anything that's interesting. 3 stories, I give them a nice little headline. You take your pick. Between now and 3, you're gonna learn 3 things. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, the headlines are, I'll be no buying one of them.
Give us that again.
I'll be no buying one of them.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. We've also got, Hippo News.
Okay. Okay.
And, Can you believe it?
Can you believe it?
Well, I'm gonna go for Hippo News.
Hippo News?
Yeah. News.
Right, well, this one, it's, I'm not gonna take the credit here. I heard Christian talking about this on breakfast, right? Because it's a good story that happened. Basically, I don't know if I told you about it last week when we were having our spaghetti, but,
I think you did.
Right,
I know what it is. I know what this is.
Okay, I've not heard this.
Right, there's a little midget. Right, there's a circus.
I'm loving it already.
Circus going on somewhere. I think it was in America. And,
is that present day or old times?
I'm talking, like, in the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
Right? Little midget, circus, really packed out show, people are loving it.
Right, Steve, you'll ask the same question I did, I know.
So there's little midget jumping up and down on a trampoline.
That's not a circus, is
Right.
I pay good money to see it.
So, everyone's clapping, and he's getting carried away.
Because he can't believe he's like, he can't believe they're loving it. I didn't know they'd like a little person on a trampoline, but they love me.
But you know what it's like when, if there's a crowd of people sort of encouraging you to sort of go higher and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he knew it was getting out of hand. But he was jumping and he was coming down the road going higher, and he's going really high in the air, right? So he's doing this, crowd are clapping. There's a hippo, right, just sat next to the trampoline, getting ready to come on and do his act.
Oh, right, I thought he was in the audience.
That's it, getting ready to do his act, Steve.
Yeah. So
he's a ventriloquist.
What do you mean he's sitting by the trampoline waiting to do his act?
Because it's...
Why does he sit in the dressing room and they go, 5 minutes, Mr. Muss, 5 minutes, Mr. Muss.
So anyway, right, so the hippo's there,
he's getting annoyed, is he, because the midget's
he's going, how can I follow this? How can I, this is really annoying, they're gonna be, no.
So,
he's thinking, he's already done the trampoline, my pogo stick act is never gonna work.
Yeah, go on, so there's a hippo waiting. See, it's a great story, and I just know he embellishes it, or he gets slightly wrong. Go on.
So
there's a midget jumping up and down, the hippo's getting annoyed,
the crowd are going mad, the midget's loving it, can't believe his luck. Although you think, he probably knows he's dicing with danger.
Yeah. So, next thing you know, they're all saying higher, higher. He gives it one big, like, heavy sort of landing on the trampoline, goes really high, but goes off at a funny angle.
Oh.
Hypotenuse.
Okay.
Yeah. And sort of flies up.
Hypotenuse!
Sure.
Flies off at a funny angle.
Ooh, dear.
Hippo's there, swallows him whole. Crowd are clapping, thinking that's why the hippo was waiting there.
Rubbish. Rubbish.
It's not rubbish though.
But no, maybe there was an accident in a circus with a midget and a hippo, but at no point was this hippo waiting to go on, going, come on. The midget flew off at a hypotenuse and landed in the hippo's mouth and was swallowed whole. This is what you embellish it. That is great. And what's that?
I have to say though, Rick, when I heard midget, trampoline, hippopotamus, I was thinking accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean...
It is that, you should never put those three together.
Never.
It's a recipe for disaster. Everyone knows that. Midget, trampoline, hippopotamus. Are you mental?
You're asking for trouble.
Well...
You know, when he told me it, he said, and the midget, he didn't mention the hippopotamus, and he said the midget went on, and soon he fell off, and the hippo ate him. And I said, sorry, what was the hippo doing there? He went, it's a circus.
I've never heard of a circus having a hippo.
What do hippos do?
What can they do? You can't train them, can you?
What do you
Aren't they, like, very deadly? They're huge, aren't they?
You can't have a hippo in a circus.
Are you sure?
You're not thinking of Zippo?
He's neither clown.
Yeah. No, and it wasn't some sort of, where Zippo was eating a midget, and it's some sort of horrible sexual act.
No, it was definitely, I heard it on breakfast, right?
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, it's definitely fact.
Yeah, okay, right, okay, good. Well, let's play a record then. I'd like to play a classic Springsteen, we're all fans of Springsteen there. This might be his debut album, I'm not sure, Greetings from Ashbury Park.
I think it is, yeah.
New Jersey. And this is Growing Up, it's great, it's classic. Springsteen and Growing Up, off of, Ashbury Park album. Great. They make you feel good, Springsteen, doesn't he?
He's a joy. He's an absolute joy. Rockbusters.
Well, this is what they're all reading and writing about.
Absolutely. Before you get the clues, let me just remind you of the prizes you're playing for. We've got the Manic Street Preachers' Greatest Hits on DVD. We've got the film Human Traffic on DVD. We've got the Best Air Guitar Album 2 on CD. Groove Armada's, is this their current album?
Yeah.
I guess it's not selling very well. They're still trying to promote that. You can have that as well. If you are a fan of the Ford Fiesta TV ad, of the Vodafone TV adverts, you will love the...
You didn't think you liked indie? Well, you do.
Exactly, and that's got, Feeder and Travis and Badly Drawn Boy and all sorts on there. Plus, my own copy, $6.99 it cost me, The Pelican Brief, starring Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington. If you've not seen that, panned and scanned on VHS. So what are the clues?
Do you know what a pelican, I read the other day, that has to turn its head upside down to eat?
Give us the clues.
So, Rockbusters...
Well, let me just explain. A bird has a gullet, and esophagus and a gullet is all in one thing. It hasn't got peristalsis, which is the movement that we have that can make food. So a bird can only rely on gravity.
Yeah.
So it has to have its head up and has to shake. It can't eat.
You were going to say that, weren't you, Carl?
Yeah. So, Rockbusters, you mentioned it earlier, one of last week's was, it's a cryptic clue and then some initials. I was in Texas, I fell in a puddle on my knees got wet, WH, wet knee, Houston.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing we...
Use of the word knee twice there in the cryptic clue, and in the final
And the word
answer.
wet, I think you're right.
Yeah, which is wit. So fine, good.
So, there's 3 of them. It's email only, ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
Sure.
Load of stuff to win. Here we go. Right, the first one.
I'm writing these
Cryptic
down. Go on.
Making it of them.
clue. The fella has only got one badge left.
The fella has only got one badge left.
Yeah.
What are the initials?
That's just E.
Just E. Oh, just E.
Just E. The fella has only got one badge left.
This is either a solo artist or a band.
Yeah. Second one. The unmarried lady is a friend I eat out with.
Say that again?
The unmarried lady is a friend I eat out with.
The unmarried lady is a friend I eat out with.
Yeah.
What's the initial?
MD.
MD.
MD. And finally, I really love that woman. I love everything she does. That's M. Now,
Give us that one again.
I really love that woman. I love everything she does.
And that's...
M.
Right, now I've got that one.
Right.
Okay.
So,
That's great, it's great. That's lovely.
So,
That's great.
I think the second and third one's quite easy. First one is a killer.
Is it tricky?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So, ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk, and what, we pick a winner out at about 1:45 or something like that?
2:45, yeah, absolutely.
No, 2:45, what am I talking about?
2:45.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's dynamite stuff. Well done, Carl.
Excellent.
More educating Ricky next.
Yeah.
Beck, Lost Cause on XFM 104.9. Wow. Carl, we haven't had a lot of emails, they're tough.
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I've got one, and I'm struggling with 2, but I know one of the words, but I can't think of the band that fits it unless the clue's wrong, and I've got no idea with the first one, E.
Give us them again.
Just
Just
give 'em
quickly recap. Number 1, the fella has only got one badge left. That's E. Second one, the unmarried lady is a friend I eat out with. That's MD. And the last one, I really love that woman. I love everything she does. That's M.
Well, Ricky, what is it, Ricky?
Ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
So keep those coming in. If there's no winner, we don't know whether to give it to the person who gets the most right first, or have a massive rollover. And, what a Christmas booty that would be, as Carl said. All those... Imagine what you could have... indecent proposal, maybe.
Who knows?
You know what I mean?
I've got some real junk, so I can bring that in.
Yeah. The mean machine.
Imagine
with
someone
Vinnie
this
Jones.
Christmas. Yeah, exactly. This Christmas, I can't believe it. Oh, thank you so much for the Pelican brief. I noticed you left a price on.
And it's on VHS as well.
Oh, great.
Brilliant.
This is perfect Christmas gifts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Okay. Now,
Some
so
quite
that's going.
mediocre CDs.
That's
Some
going.
perfect
That's
Christmas
going
gifts.
on. That's a big prize. It's a big weekend prize on XFM. Educating Ricky, part 2. Right. What's the clues
Right,
left?
well, we've got left, the headlines, I'll be no buying one of them.
Yeah.
And we've also got, Chicken You Believe It. Chicken You Believe It. So, they're the 2 that are left. Which one should I go for?
Chicken You Believe It is not that picture, is it? That we saw.
Which picture?
The bloke with the...
No.
Right,
no.
okay.
God, that was bad.
Right, okay,
right, so...
I was about to explain
We
that.
can't really discuss this on air, can we?
Well, we can. Steve brought in, Carl, the best book ever, which is, what is it?
I found it when I was moving house. It's an FHM publication, and it's kind of like lots of grotesque pictures and stories, and like a book of freaks and weirdos and
And Carl opened it, and the first one was like...
At the back.
At the back.
Well, you couldn't believe your luck, could you?
What was it? What was number 50?
A bloke with 2 heads.
And he said, what's number 1?
Yeah.
And then number 6, there's a bloke who's a squid or something.
Octopus.
Yeah. yeah. He's loving it. At number 1, he said, well, it's just a fella under a rock. And I went, oh no, read on, I think I know about this. And it's the fella that was found, he caused a landslide while having sex with a chicken. And they pulled him up, and there he is, the chicken owner.
Right,
so Carl could not believe his luck. So it's not that.
Chicken You Believe It.
I'll have that one
You're
then.
going for that one?
Yeah.
Right, well, we've talked a lot on the show about,
We've talked a lot on the show.
Yeah.
About animals without heads.
We haven't! We haven't! We talked about cockroaches could live without a head for 7 days.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and then of course there was the the well-known one about the fella who had his head cut off, and he
blinked.
He said to his mate, "Count how many times I blink when my head comes off."
Yeah, when you told it to me, you said his head came off, and he said, as he said it was in the basket, he said, "Quick, count how many times I blink." And it was Nick Frost that had to go, "No, Carl, no, he said it before." I went, and that was lovely. So yeah, we've talked quite a lot about things heads coming off. Go on then.
Well, this one, right? Back in 1945.
You looked up the date.
It's got a specific date. Wow.
Mate Jonathan sent this one. You know him as well. The lad at the BBC, right? He emailed this one in. So thanks for that. Chicken. It's called Mike.
There's a chicken called. Sorry, I missed a bit there. There's a chicken called Mike.
Chicken called Mike.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What happened was, it was living on a farm, right? Loads of chickens knocking about, and the owner of the farm is like, you know, getting ready for tea, and his wife says, "Go out and get a fresh chicken, 'cause me mum's coming round." So he thinks, well, I want to get a good one in, 'cause I want to impress her. 'Cause back then, even then, they wanted to impress the mother-in-law and that. So they said, "All right, I'll just nip out and get one." So he sees Mike, chicken, running around.
Is this during the war or after the war?
1945. I'd say that was after.
No, ended. Well,
it ended in 1945.
Yeah, okay. September. Go on.
Yeah. So, chicken's running about, he thinks that one that looks alright, I'll have that one. So he picks it up, and he cuts its head off. Puts it on the block, cuts its head off, runs about a bit, like they do. He thinks it'll stop in a minute, keeps running about. Oh, what's going on here? Right? He's now, like, chasing the chicken without an head.
Yeah.
He's saying it should die in a minute. Anyway, doesn't die. Chicken's walking around with no head. Lives for 18 months.
Yeah.
Chicken with no head.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard this story before, Rick, and the explanation, as I understand it, was that certain vital cords, spinal cords, weren't severed when the head came off. So that was why it continued to live. Yep. I don't know if that sounds plausible.
It's fine. Absolutely fine. How did it take on protein and energy?
The fella who owned it, he said, well, hang on a minute, he said, I could kill it now.
But I've got a wonder chicken here.
But he's thinking, it must really want to live.
Sure.
Right? If it survived that, they've sort of got something here.
Yeah.
So he, what he does, he gets a little, eye droplet thing that he used to use on it. Obviously not anymore. Right? And he filled it with grain and water. And it had a big hole in its neck where its head used to be. And he,
incredibly.
And he dropped.
You know what? I mean, that is possible then. If it, without infection, without infection, if he was taking on things, it is possible, right? Why?
Why what?
Why did he do it? How cruel is that? I mean, that was not cruel because the chicken obviously, you know.
He said if he thought it was a bit fed up, he would have killed it. He said, but it was running around quite happy.
Well, it wasn't fed up at all because it had no brain.
Well,
what do you mean? Well.
I'm just saying what
it was nothing. It was just sinew and nerves and electrical impulses breaking down energies, right? That's all it was. It didn't have a brain. So it was, but I'm worried about the psychology of keeping a pet without a head. I'm worried more about what the farmer was thinking than the chicken.
I tell you this, what the question I'm asking is, was the mother-in-law impressed? I mean, that's why he set out, to shot Mike's head off.
This is lovely, but it's just the head where you don't kill a chicken like that all at once.
I thought we were having chicken for dinner. Come and look at this, running around the yard.
Yeah! Oh, dear.
So, there you go, you've learnt something there.
Yeah, I have learnt something.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, one more.
That farmer, I've learnt that farmer was very strange indeed.
Yeah. There you go.
I have to say, to be fair to Carl, I have a feeling like when I read it, the reason he kept it alive was as a novelty. He got charged people to come and see the incredible headless chicken called Mike.
Right.
So, there we are.
That's great.
So, tune, Steve?
A tune, yeah. I just thought I'd like to hear a little bit more from that NERD album. We played some of this from there when it first came out many moons ago. Since then, it's gone on, it's won awards, all sorts. And obviously, NERD now, Nerd, as they're sometimes known, kind of big producers. They're producing Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, all kinds of people. But this is a track from their album.
I've heard they're wicked.
They are indeed. And this is called Things Are Getting Better. NERD. From their album In Search Of, and that's Things Are Getting Better. After the break, we got more Educating Ricky and the results to this week's Rockbusters.
And Richard Ashcroft.
Oh, dynamite.
Richard Ashcroft. Check the Meaning on XFM 104.9 on Ricky Gervais with me, Steve Merchant. Carl just remembered a little story he was excited to tell you.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh, are you going to tell him?
Oh, okay. When we went into this cafe last week after Karl had got his soil, we got 2 big bags of soil. I was going, get a bag for me. And he was like, no, I can walk home. After about 10 yards, he was going, oh, my arms hurt. So he had to get a cab. So we stopped in this cafe, he had spaghetti bolognese. You were loving it, weren't you?
It was good, it's a good little day out.
And there was a woman that worked there, and she sort of, I could see her sort of looking at me. And she said, and then she came over and said, are you off the telly? And I went, yeah. She went, yeah, Chris Moyles.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
And I just laughed, and we both started laughing. She went, no, sorry, I said, no, I'm not, Chris, what's your name? And I went, and I had to say it, I went, Ricky Gervais. She went, oh, no. She went, oh, the thing in the office. I went, yeah.
No, the funny thing was, she went and said,
oh, no, I saw you on
Jonathan
Ross, that's it, yeah.
So she'd obviously watched the Jonathan Ross show thinking, Chris Moyles has, you know, lost his looks a bit or whatever. That's what I found funny, the fact that she must have watched it thinking that...
Yeah, she went, no, I saw you the other day, and I was like, yeah, she went, oh, and then we were still sort of laughing, I was thinking, she went, oh, sorry to be back, I was going, no, it's fine, I was thinking, yeah, imagine that, just like,
God.
Great, there's not a better one to pick.
That's just appalling.
Oh, that was lovely. It's the second time as well.
That you've been mistaken for Chris Moyles?
Yeah.
Oh man, you've got to feel bad about that.
I've had Moyles, I've had, Vegas a few times.
Johnny Vegas, yeah, I can imagine.
So, yeah.
Do you think, like, people are going up to Moyles going, you do that thing about working in an office?
Yeah, well, dunno. I don't know whether I hope that or not.
I don't know, it depends what he answers.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say that, are you Chris Moyles? No, what's your name, Ricky Gervais? Never heard of you. That'd be brilliant.
So, yeah, okay, right. Educating Ricky, number 3.
Ricky,
well, we've got the emails in.
Yeah, people are they're finally trickling in. I think people are getting them.
People have got the full 3 right, but I mean, it's still worth emailing in because we never know who we're going to pick as a winner.
I'll tell you what, we've still got 50 minutes before we give the prize out, so let's give them again. Just give us a quick run there, because I think these are tantalising. They really are.
Yeah. So the first one, the fella has only got 1 badge left.
Yeah.
That's E. The second one, the unmarried lady is a friend to eat out with. MD. And the third one, I really, really love that woman. I love everything she does. That's M.
Excellent.
Right. Ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk. You can win all kinds of prizes.
Educating Ricky,
right,
number 3.
Final one. You've had hippopotamus. You had chicken. You believe it. And the last one is I'll be no buying one of them.
I love that one.
All right. Interesting one. This. I mean, I spent probably 3 days looking for this stuff. Right? And another one that I came across, right? And, I was gonna use, I was a bit like...
What a great life you've got!
I was just, you know, going on the internet and that, and I also, looking magazines, found a story about a bloke who, I don't know, he was messing about with a chainsaw and
I don't know, messing about with a chainsaw. He was juggling a midget, and, whilst taking his alligator for a walk, and, go on.
And his arm, come off, right?
Come off? What do you mean his arm come off?
The chainsaw took it off.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
it was like, oh...
Again,
anyway,
He's going, oh no!
Oh.
So, there's a picture of him on a exercise bike, sort of just with a little stump sort of balancing, but he's getting on with his life, he's happy and everything, everything's fine, he's not complaining, it's his own fault, he's got no one to blame, right? So anyway, he goes to the doctors, and the doctor said, I can do something there. So he goes, well, it's alright, you know, I'm getting by alright, don't worry about it. And he goes, no, we've got an arm in, right? We can attach that, a real arm, from someone who's, I think they'd passed away or lost an arm or something, and,
they lost an arm and didn't want it back.
Yeah, I love it. Are you using that?
Yeah.
No, because I know someone.
Because I know a bloke, actually.
Yeah. Well, can't you just put this one back on? Well, it's first come, first serve, really.
I was just building a bionic man. We've replaced one arm with a robot's arm, so we got a spare one.
So, the doctor's going, let me put it on, he's like, well, alright then. So
Ungrateful bastard.
So, he does the operation, right? Everything's fine, he's loving it, he's happy again because he said he can brush his teeth.
Right, okay, if this is gonna be
He's
something
loving
like...
it again because now he can brush his teeth.
Right, if this is gonna be, and it was a leg, or
No.
it was a chimp's arm,
or it was the arm of a killer.
It was 2 left arms, right? I'm going to kill you.
Oh, let's leave it then.
What is it? What's the answer?
No, it's not that. I'm just.
What is? Okay. Right.
So he says, "Go on and do it." So he sews it on, and like I say, he's happy. He's brushing his teeth. He can have a pint in the pub. He's lifting a pint with it. All his mates are happy for him. It goes on for about 2 years. Everything's fine. Then it all starts going flaky.
Oh, I knew it would.
Was it made of chocolate?
Alright, so it all goes all like gammy, and then for some reason...
The arm starts going gammy.
It goes gammy, and it gets longer.
Of course it does.
So there's a picture of him, right, stood in the magazine. He's stood there with his arms by his side. One arm's normal, the other one is like past his knees. It's he can pull his socks up without bending over.
So is this gonna be, they gave him the arm of an 8-year-old child who would have been the tallest man in the world?
No, he just said, "Oh, what am I going to do?" And the doctor said, "Oh, there's not much we can do," and left it.
Wait a minute, you can't leave it there.
That's not a story.
So, Karl,
That's not
You've got to tell us the explanation. Was it an incredible plastic arm? An incredible expanding arm? Did he fight crime later?
No.
Well, that's the end of the story? You've got no scientific explanation as to why...
That's why I didn't pick it.
But you just told it to us anyway!
Yeah, but I'm just saying the sort of knowledge I come over when I'm looking for the good knowledge. Yeah?
So why did his arm grow? Why did this arm grow? He must have had an adult arm. They couldn't have given him an arm.
I don't know. It's just one of them.
It's rubbish again, isn't it?
Well, I don't. It's an interesting story, but you should have.
It's not, and it's rubbish.
But you should have read to the end. There was photos. Proof.
Yeah.
But you should have read to the end of the article, Karl.
No, I did. And he said, you know, he's not happy and he wishes he wouldn't have had it done and all that, and, you know.
Are you sure this wasn't entirely unexpected?
No, seriously, he was saying, you know, his teeth are nice and clean again because he could brush them and that, but his arm's getting in the way. Ruining his shirts and everything. So I'll leave that.
Let's play a tune, let's come back with the next one, because I love the fact that this is like Ronnie Corbett telling one of his jokes. That's it, right? That wasn't even the story. He was going to tell us.
Play it, record. Oh, God. That's alright, isn't it? Travis. Level come through. Quite like that. On XFM 104.9. Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, and Karl Pilkington. In the chair. We've had the answers in. It's Rockbusters. It's the results. Karl, give us the winning answers.
Right, Steve, you search for a winner.
I will.
At random. We can slip into that. So, the first one was, the fella's only got one badge left.
I have no idea.
The initial was E.
Go on.
Well, I got the answer now,
Yeah,
Steve?
give the answer, yeah.
I think you should.
That was his last sticker. Yeah?
Elastica. The band Elastica. I'm not sure.
Doesn't work. No. Doesn't work.
The word sticker and a badge are not interchangeable.
And it's not his last sticker, it's Elastica.
Yeah, but, like, his last sticker. So, someone's got it.
Oh! So say a different word and it works. Oh, so if the band is Elastica, then it works. God, if only Justin would have named it different. If she'd have just gone, let's call it Elastica, then we'd have, yeah.
Second one.
What was the clue?
The unmarried lady is a friend they eat out with.
Go on.
That's Miss Dynamite.
Miss Dynamite?
Doesn't work.
Yeah, but it's been running for 4 weeks. We've done the obvious ones.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Miss Dynamite.
Again, if she'd have called herself Miss Dynamite, it would work. She didn't. See, what's happening is pop stars are letting you down by naming themselves incorrectly for your clues. Those don't work. They don't count.
And the last one, I really, really love that woman. I love everything she does. That was M.
Yeah.
That was Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna. I'm gonna give you that. That worked, yeah. Right, that's the end of that feature, until you can get ones that work. Okay, so you won't hear any more of that, because it's rubbish. You're running out already. Sorry, do you just think of the first 3 things that come in your mind and make them fit? Just think of 3 bands and make a clue, and if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter.
I just went through the
rubbish. It was rubbish.
Whatever.
Right, play a record.
Hang on, we've got a winner.
We have. Actually, you say all this, Rick, but lots of people got them right. Which,
yeah. So
I don't know what that proves, really. I don't know if that says, you know, you're the tosser or
they're as stupid as Karl.
One or the other.
Okay.
But, I'm gonna give it to Simon and Daisy in Hitchin. They, got the right answers, and, well done to them. They get the Pelican Brief and some other treats.
Serves you right.
I look forward to that.
Serves you right for understanding Karl. Swade's new one. Obsessions. On XFM 104.9. Well, I'm Ricky Gervais, obviously, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington. Well, Karl, that's about it, and we got sidetracked on the last Educating Ricky. You telling me about a man whose arm grew.
Well, something went wrong. I'm not saying it grew, just saying...
What? The rest of him shrunk?
It went long.
It went long. What, is that growing now? What do you mean it went long? Did it grow, or what, did it come loose?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, so it was hanging by a thread which made it look long? Yeah. Within the skin?
It's like how you can stretch a pair of tights if something is too heavy.
Arms are very much like tights. They are very much like tights.
The one that we didn't get round to on Educating Ricky was, I'll be no buying one of them.
Go on.
Are you familiar with the saying white elephant?
Something is a white elephant. Yeah, I don't think so.
Hold on. You phoned me last night and said, what does white elephant mean? And I told you.
Yeah, I know, but I know where it came from, but I just was wondering what it was about.
So how, in what way is Educating Ricky you calling me up and asking me something?
Well, do you know how it came about?
You've given away some of the secrets of the show there, it would appear. I didn't realise he was phoning you for information.
Well, you just asked me what the term white elephant meant in sort of like colloquial.
Did he say, why are you interested, Karl? No reason.
No, go on.
Well, what it is, ages ago when...
So what do we understand white elephant to mean?
Well, something that's useless, that's like a bit of a, you know, something that you wouldn't want around that's just stood there doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Karl.
So years ago, when people used to use elephants...
Years ago, go on.
When people used to use elephants?
Yeah, more than they do now.
Right.
More than they do now!
This doesn't involve a midget, does it?
No. So, you know, they'd use them in the workplace and stuff.
Sure,
sort of,
yeah, as factories.
Sort of,
yeah.
To move stuff around and that.
Yeah, security guards.
Yeah. Can't trust them with the buns, though. That's why they stopped using them.
Oh, right. God, go on.
So there was loads of elephants knocking about, and the thing is, right,
you couldn't move from.
If you have a lot of something, you also have a lot of demic ones, don't you?
A lot of what?
You know, sort of demicky ones that aren't right, really.
Demicky?
Well, you know, like, they weren't properly. They weren't
properly.
They weren't
Sorry, Karl, what are you doing?
Right, I'm getting to the story. So what I'm telling you is...
They were a bit demicky, so they weren't properly.
Have you started making words up?
Right. Yeah, you Stanley Unwin.
Listen.
Reincarnated.
Demicky?
Yeah.
There was a lot of albino elephants knocking about.
Okay. Where is this?
Olden times. Africa.
Yes! Should we say Africa?
Yeah. If an answer's got a question mark at the end, I'm not sure
it's either Africa or India, but I'll give you a clue. Well, these elephants, do they have big ears or little ears?
I didn't sort of notice the size of the elephants. What I noticed is they were white, because they were albino elephants.
Okay.
Right? So... that's why they're heading, I'll be no buying one of them.
Okay.
Right? No buying one of them.
So, what would happen is, people who didn't know what they were doing, like, you know, you get people making a mistake buying cars that are full of problems and that. Back then, when people were buying elephants, they'd go up to someone, say, I'm after an elephant, and the fella would say, yeah, I've got one here for you, this is a nice one. And it was all white and stuff, and it had, like, blue eyes.
You should never trust a used elephant salesman.
It was just this elephant that's white with blue eyes.
Right. So,
this is great.
So a fellow who didn't know what he was doing would buy the elephant, and he'd get it back, and it'd be all sort of lazy and stuff, and what we're doing and stuff. And he'd say, what's up with this? And his mate, who's a bit of an expert with elephants, and go, oh, where have you bought that from? And he'd say, oh, I got it off that fella, and he goes, oh...
All this embellishing nonsense in terms of the story.
You shouldn't have bought that. So he goes, why? And he says, it's only albino, innit? And he's like, what does that mean? And he said, oh, it gets tired. It's not that good at doing work and that, you shouldn't have bought it.
It steals from you.
But elephants back then were like a god. You know what I mean?
Right.
You couldn't say, oh, I'm sick of this and I'm going to abandon it or anything, because elephants were seen as, like, pretty high up on the chain of things. So they'd end up being stuck with an elephant, that's an albino, couldn't do much, gets tired, basically gets in the way, so they said, that's where they're saying, like, you know, but a bit of a white elephant there.
What do you reckon, Rick?
I feel like I haven't been educated. I feel like I've lost something. So that time in my life that I can never get back. I feel like I've sort of been soiled, and I don't know where to start. I'm angry. Do you know what I mean? I'm angry.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
And all that rubbish around. Look at his little face.
Well,
what was that? All that shit about a second-hand elephant salesman and his mate knew about elephants. What is it? What are they had blue eyes. What are you?
Well,
albinos have red eyes for a start.
Oh, that's it. We've run out of time.
Oh, what? I mean, what are you going to do about this next week? Are you going to actually do some educating next week? And what about Rockbusters? Are you going to make the clues proper cryptic clues?
Well, that's the teaser, isn't it? That's what we'll leave them with.
Will it be any good next week? Tune in and find out on XFM 104.9.